Hello, welcome back to Cubs Fan Fantasy Baseball Commentary Show. The Cubs are 5-0, so I haven't changed my shirt yet. Will this be another championship year for the Cubs? Let me just drink from this 2016 official Cubs World Series. Well, we'll see. They're playing Pittsburgh. It's the third game of the series, I'm guessing. The finish off the series of the first series of the home opener. I'm about to hit. Right now is where I'm hitting start for the home thing. Right now. Wait, now. There. Oh. And then here, I'll even go through the team. Ooh, Kyle Hendricks does not look like he's got enough. Oh, we definitely need to do some subbing here. We will give Nico Hoerner his first start of the year at shortstop to give Javier Baez a little bit of a rest. Chris Bryant. Gosh, should we be sitting our stars? Am I tempting fate by having too many people that shouldn't be sitting? We'll see. I mean, it could give them a leg up later. Oh man, I'm messing all with this. So I'm gonna put Ian Happ in right field, and I'm gonna put Albert Almora in center field. I'm sorry. This is going to look weird, probably. Do we let Jason Kipnis start? I think we're going to give everyone a nice little rest here. Man, if they were ever going to lose one, it would probably be this one right now. Because I don't feel overly comfortable. You know what? Let's give Bodie the leadoff spot. I'm sure a lot of people don't like this. Got an Ian Happ in the 7-hole. A lot of that probably makes a lot of people mad too. Oof. All right, here's where start is going to be for this is to help the editor. I'm about to hit start for when the game goes from the roster to the loading. 1, 2, 3. Start. Ready. Anywho, yeah, I feel weird about that. This. I feel like I'm setting this. I feel like I just want to wash my Lucky shirt. It's been through 5 games. I haven't washed it. Also, I'm sorry I'm behind on recording and streaming these games. I've been busy eating pizzas. Plural. Whew. Here we go. Cubs versus Pittsburgh Pirates. 5-0 versus 1-4. Kyle Hendricks is going to be back on the mound. He was the opening day starter. Had a very good start. Or maybe it was Yu Darvish. I don't know who's starting. So one of them... Actually, yeah, Yu Darvish is starting. He was the opening day starter because I thought it'd be sexier to have him be pitching. Because not to say the professor isn't sexy in his own right. But... Okay, here we go. Yu Darvish pitching to Kevin Newman. Oof. And like I said, I didn't put the most imposing lineup. I kind of let the Cubs reserves play today. Looks like some of them needed rest. So, we'll see. But if Yu Darvish pitches the way he's pitched the last half of the last half of last season and last game, I think he... Oh, actually, last game wasn't amazing. He did okay. I can't remember I think he won, but he threw a lot of pitches those first couple innings. So 0-2 to Kevin Newman. We'll see what comes here. Ooh, I wouldn't have guessed some of that. Oh! So far off to a bad start. The only person who I didn't change their position in the outfield messed up. Kay Schwarbs just dropped a diving catch. And the only person I didn't change their position in the outfield. Any one of the other outfielders probably would have had that. Just because they're faster than Kyle Schwarber and probably better at defense. Yeah, it's not feeling great so far. We'll see here, though. Ooh. Yu Darvish comes back with a 96-mile-per-hour fastball. Like I said, Cubs 5-0 this season. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty strong. And I wouldn't owe it all to me setting up the lineup. I mean, this is the first time I haven't used Bryant as the leadoff. Sorry, I mumbled there. This wasn't the first time. I'll talk better. I'll use my words better. We're only in the second batter and I'm already trailing off. I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope this is fun. I hope you can. I'm in sweatpants. I mean, I'm wearing other stuff. You know, I got the fancy up top. Oh, strike 3. Such an idiot. Strike 3. Yu Darvish sets him down. Yu Darvish is probably happy Kyle Hendricks, or was I saying Kyle Hendricks? Was happy that Kyle Schwarber dropped that in the outfield. Now he can strike out the 3 outs instead of giving him 1 fly ball. Yu Darvish, big K pitcher, strikes out a lot of batters. I don't know what his career high is. I know at least a couple times he's got struck out like 14 people. I'm guessing that's not his high. I'm guessing his high is 15 to 17. I don't know. That's a huge amount. But I feel like he struck out 14 multiple times. 2-1. Puts the cutter in there. Yu Darvish is fun on Twitter. He says lots of silly things. He has lots of fun in the offseason. He does. Oof. Go. 3-1. Having some control issues out of the gate here. That's not good. Especially with Josh Bell on deck. You really hope you can throw something here and get a grounder, get a double play, get out of the inning. That'd be nice. Ooh, on the corner. That's either amazing control or not very good control, because I don't think you could have gotten more off the corner there and had it have still been a strike. Looks in to Contreras. Contreras says, I went a little high. Oof. Kind of ballsy to go with that high of heat, where the walk would have put 2 on with 1 out with the cleanup hitter up. I figured they'd be going for some sort of strike if they just think he's going to go for it. They tried again, and exactly what I said was risky to do happened. Well, drink them if you got them. I told Gerald I would call him in before midnight, so hopefully we'll wait till at least the first inning, and then I won't talk to him as long. We'll set a strict limit in how long Gerald and I talk to each other. Oh man, the last time Darvish pitched was, like I said, the first game. That was the longest game by far. So maybe buckle in here, people. Yeesh. I don't like that placement. All right, I do like 1 and 2 though. 1 or 2 is a good pitcher's count. Maybe some off speed on the outside corner. A little low. I don't know what he threw there. Sometimes it's hard to tell. Ooh. Oh, and Hoerner turns a double play mostly by himself. Or was that Bodie? I thought it was Hoerner. Hoerner's playing shortstop, I think. There we go. Got out of a jam there. Things were looking a little bleak, but Darvish turns the double, gets the double play turned by Hoerner to Riz. Pitching now is Jameson Taillon. He was bad enough last year. Wow, that's a good whip. He's pitched really well this year in the 7 innings. He was one of those pitchers that was supposed to be really good, but as is the case with so many Pittsburgh pitchers, hasn't given the results that you thought they were gonna get yet. David Bote. He is fresh. Like I said, I put in some fresh players, and David Bote has not had a start this season. Maybe he's done some pinch hitting. He had an extension with the Cubs. It was one of those deals where I don't even know how. It was like 5 or 6 years for like 16 million. It was one of those weird extensions where it was just everyone felt good about it because the Cubs thought he might turn out being pretty good. He's kind of a utility guy, and David Bote was like, I think David Bote had a pregnant wife. I mean, they have a kid now, but I think at the time he was just like, I could really use a guaranteed $20 million right now. And when you're not a starter, getting any sort of extension when you're not playing every day all the time is often welcome. So, yeah, I think he's happy about it. He's a nice, like I said, a nice utility bench player. Strike 3. Still got him to throw 6 pitches, which is a decent amount. So yeah, Bodie's useful both on the team, or if they ever want to package him with a trade. And I hate saying that, but it is he'd be especially if he starts playing more and puts up good numbers. There's a lot of value in someone having someone's contract for 6 years that you're not paying more than $3 or $4 million a year, who can play multiple positions. Rizzo's 0-1. Good take. Good eye, Riz. Really, wow, look at the dead eyes. That umpire had weird eyes, didn't he? He was like, hey. Or he was doing the weird, like the it eyes. I can sort of do that. My eyes used to do that when I was little. I couldn't control it very well. I had to wear glasses from when I was 3 until I was 12. It wasn't fun. The moment I got my glasses off when I didn't need them anymore when I was 12 was the second it became cool to have glasses. When everyone was like, oh, Spencer's not wearing glasses anymore. They're fine now. And that's when people started getting like non-prescription lenses. Ridiculous. Oh, Rizzo! That's foul. Sometimes the camera angles they give make me think it's a home run, and it's just a foul ball. And that's probably going to be caught too. I don't like how they have the players running this sometimes. Very nonchalantly. Sorry, AJ Grill was asking about the show Coach. Because the creator's from Iowa. And I was talking about how in Coach they used to film the exterior shots before, when they open up a scene, a lot of times they'll show a clip from campus. And they used to show a lot of exterior shots from the University of Iowa when the fictitious Minnesota State, which there is a Minnesota State now, because Moorhead became Minnesota State, because it was called Moorhead. And Schwarbs takes the walk. But, yeah, the creators from there, and they used to shoot the exteriors. Wilson Contreras is up. I like the 17 pitches in. That's a good... been some quality at bats. Haven't got us results yet as far as runs go, but some quality at bats. Also, I'll take the pitcher throwing 20 pitches in the first inning. For sure. Oof. That means you get them out around the 5th inning, which would be very nice. To quote Borat. All right. Well, we'll call Gerald now, because I told him I would call him by midnight, and it's just about to turn midnight. And he's the type where if I call after midnight, might be like, nope, you said before midnight, and then you didn't call. So let's give old Gerald Bronson a call.
The third baseman, Colin Moran.
Hello. You're not tricking me this time.
Whatever are you referring to?
Ladies and gentlemen and people of non-binary affiliation, give it up for Gerald Bronson. I need a board. I need a soundboard, Gerald.
Oh, is that like a paddle you hit your ass with that makes sound?
Yes.
The soundboard.
Yes, it's any board that's not in a vacuum.
Oh. You gotta drill holes and cut down on wind resistance.
Is that you that's watching me streaming, I'm assuming?
Yes.
You're the one? You're the one.
I'm the only one who would.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, that's the account that I stream from is the one that doesn't have video. Like, it's not the one I post later on. So, yes. Oh, and Jarvis gives up what could be a double. No, not a double. Kyle Schwarber cuts it to a single. Nicely done, Kyle.
Wait, what kind of hamburger is he eating? A double? A Dave's Classic double?
A Dave's Classic double. Oh, and Gerald, by the way, I know we're in quarantine and everything, but I will tell you this. At the Come and Go on Burlington, they are selling their White Castle burgers are half off. They're like $3 or $4 for a package of White Castle burgers. Is it worth it?
Let's see. Okay, so he's gonna throw the ball, and then let's see.
Yeah, Yu Darvish is pitching. He's half Japanese, half Iranian, I believe. Because his birth name sounds a lot more Iranian and not very Japanese. Oof.
Do they, in an effort to make this more realistic, did the umps ever just make the wrong call?
They do. You can, and I'm not sure on this year's version, but on other years' version, you can literally turn it on or off, on if they make mistakes or not. And then, which is kind of funny. And then also, I think when they do make mistakes too, they will have like at least a consistent mistake, where like their zone will be like a little bit wide or a little bit inside or a little bit small or big, specifically. I could be wrong, but I think there's usually like a consistency to the wrongness of it.
That's interesting.
Yes, but that's like real life though too, where in real life, if, like an umpire sometime will like be missing pitches a lot on the either inside or outside corner.
I'd be like a Twilight Zone episode, right, where the computers get so convincing that they start making mistakes.
Yeah, they're so human. The human element. I'm going to make a Twilight Zone episode now called The Human Element. Doesn't that sound like a Twilight Zone episode?
The human human element.
That's what they call it when they talk about wanting to have the strike zone computerized. They're like, it gets rid of the human element, and I'm like, oh, do you mean mistakes?
Yeah.
Like,
we like our baseball with the rules being just thrown out the window.
that's why people got mad about the replays. Which, by the way, I'm not sure if they're in this game. In other versions of the games, which I actually liked doing, was you couldn't look at the replay, I don't think, or you could maybe look at it once, but like, because you can challenge in baseball. So the game would really make for real mistakes that you could challenge if you thought it looked weird in the game. And that was actually, I liked that. I thought it was fun.
That's fun, yeah.
It is, because then you would watch the replay and then you'd be like, uh-oh, was I right? Because don't get me wrong, as much as they get it right, so like people don't realize how hard it is to get it right, the percentage of times they get it right. Because it's really easy for us to watch a thing 11 times and like slowed down by like 150% and be like, oh, how doesn't he see that? And it was like, well, he only saw it once and it was from a weird angle and it was, I don't know. Yu Darvish.
Oh, that's Kramer from Seinfeld, that guy? Boy, I didn't realize.
Yu Darvish? Newman.
the guy-
Newman, yes. Kevin Newman.
Kramer was on the back of his...
Oh, was there a Kramer? There's also a Kevin Newman who plays for the Pirates, too. That's who I thought you were talking about.
Well, so they got the whole cast then, is what you're telling me.
Yes.
When does Jerry come up?
I'm trying to think if there's any Jerrys. Sorry, now I'm thinking about all of the players and thinking if there is any. There we go, Darvish. Yeah, so I'm drinking. I'm not drunk, but I'm drinking.
You're not lonely when you're alone, huh?
Yes.
Like the song.
I don't even know. I don't know that song. What song is that? Farmers Only? Is that the Farmers Only song?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to drink alone at farmersonly.com.
Oh, man.
That'd be good. That'd be like, that's a more honest advertisement
Yeah.
for a dating site.
You can settle down. Ooh, Anthony Rizzo. Oh, my God. Oh, but it's okay. They're going to get the out at second. And maybe at third. Oh, my God. They just turned a double play off of an error. That was amazing. Did you just see that, Gerald?
I saw that guy move without moving his
So
legs for a second.
here's what
That was
happened.
impressive.
Here's what happened. If he did that on purpose, it would have been amazing. But so there was runners on first and second, and there was a short pop fly, but it went to the outfield, so they didn't call the infield fly rule. He dropped the ball, so the people thought they were going to be caught. So the runners on first and second both had to try and go to the other base. And so they got a force out at second, and then that cancels out the force out at third, but so you can tag him though. So they threw it to the third baseman and he tagged him at third. That's actually a very exciting play. Like that's a very, but also kind of a clusterfuck of a would that have happened? Like they might have called that an infield fly in real life.
So it's like NASCAR, where the most exciting thing that can happen
Is when
a
something
mistake.
bad goes. Yeah. It was basically this one. And Ian Happ hits a double into the gap. Ian Happ, double into the gap. Here we go, Cubs.
Oh, look at this. This is all very exciting.
Yes. Ian Happ played a lot of time he spent most of the year in the minors. It was very strange because he was assumed to be like a starter, and they sent him to the minors last year. And then he came up in the last part of the year, but he needed some seasoning. Much not to be the opposite of anything Gerald cooks. Ian Happ needed seasoning. Gerald always puts his seasoning. I was trying to make it complimentary.
Now, when you say mine, you mean like a coal miner, right? Like he was down in the 16
Yes.
tons?
Yes.
And they always have a cardinal down there, right? To see if it dies?
Yes. That's what yep, the cardinal and the coal mine. And by that I mean of the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church sends a representative, and they put him right there. And if God decides that coal mine is no longer righteous enough, I don't know. So is all Pearson working from home now?
Yes.
Okay. That's good.
And they're. I wonder if
Ooh,
they'll
he's
ever.
going to third. That was an ill-advised. Okay, good job. It was a bad throw. Sorry, go ahead again.
Well, I was just thinking, I wonder how many businesses are not going to convert back once this situation is over. How many of them are going to realize, we don't have to rent a space and pay for heating and lighting?
Oh, we don't have to have overhead of thousands of dollars a month, like... No, for sure. Well, all the ones that... I was actually... There's a good chance... we'll see how many bars open back up. I mean, once everything opens back up, I mean, that's got to be rough for so many businesses. Thankfully, I think a lot of those, I think a lot of the, I would assume a lot of the stimulus package is going to towards businesses, I would hope.
That's hopefully something. Yeah, we can only hope that Peking Buffet will be back.
Yes. That must be the hardest thing for you, Gerald, is to not be able to go to buffets.
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I can set up my food on my counter, like in trays, but it's not quite the same.
Yeah,
it's
you
tough
can
to keep the variety.
Yeah, that's fair. You can hire a Chinese waiter to come to your house and yell at you for putting the sweet and sour ladle into the egg drop soup ladle. But it's just not the same when it's at home. See, that wasn't a strike, but they called it a strike. They even showed it, that it didn't hit the plate.
Oh.
But and that's the other thing that's interesting is how would they... Because the strike zone is based on, like, the height of the player. Is what it's supposed to be. It's like from the knees to the knees to the nipple, although they never call it as high as the nipples. And they call it a little lower than the knees. It's like a little, like just about the knees to like the in between the nipples and the belly button, essentially. So sometimes there's really good hitters, but they're like really short. So it's like if you're shorter, it's easier because it's literally a smaller. Like everything else is the same size, but they have to throw it, 6 to 12 inches better. Because there's players that are 5'6" and there's players that are 6'6",
Yeah, they ever, I guess, so pitchers occasionally will intentionally try to hit the batter, right?
Yes.
Has that ever led to any kind of a charge, like an assault charge?
That's interesting you say that. Not that I'm aware of, but I was thinking about that because there have been threats against the Houston Astros whereas that was a strike that was called a ball and walked him. But there have been some pitchers just flat out saying that they're going to hit Astros players, which to me, if you go low, that's fine. Like, that's the other thing about hitting a player is like, if you throw something off speed or if you throw something below the belt. Ironically, throwing below the belt is like the acceptable form of doing that. It's once you start throwing high and like, if you hit someone anywhere above the nipples with a fastball, that's not okay. Sometimes you can often tell if there's an intent there. Yu Darvish, the pitcher, it might drop in. Nope. But yeah, that's an interesting thing, especially when you have pitchers saying they're going to throw at people. That is literally like saying you're going to do that is assault, pretty much. You know what I mean? Deadly. So if you, same thing with like, I think one time somebody almost brought a bat up when they were going to attack the pitcher because they're like, how come they can throw a ball at me? If they're going to throw a ball at me at 98 miles per hour, why can't I bring my bat up against them? Like, and I understand that argument. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
That'd be like the plot of an episode of Matlock, like the pitcher's having an affair with
the batter's wife,
and then he kills her or something.
Wow,
that's
a good idea. Because you could really, and you could have it be like the helmet he had on wasn't like was like a fake one, was like a batting practice helmet or something. So that like, and it like he set it up, and the bat boy was in on it all along or something. Like the bat boy for the other team was also in on the affair. It was a threesome affair, and you find that out later. That's what we need is a filthier version of Matlock. Matt Cook. Columblo. Just one more thing. That's what actually everyone was talking about, wanting Natasha Lyonne to do the Columbo remake with her as like the daughter, and I was like, yeah, that'd be fucking perfect, right?
She does a pretty good impression. I've seen her do it.
Oh, does she actually do the impression?
Yeah.
She just is dressed like him half the
She was
time.
on like Conan or something. She did an impression. That was pretty good.
I mean, I don't see how you don't do that, because you'll get boomers to at least give it a chance, because it reminds them of a thing they liked in the 80s, you know? Or the 7. When was that? Was that like late 70s, early 80s?
That had to be 80s, 90s.
Okay. Well, a lot of those, nuts. If you would have been able to get, weren't a lot of those Columbos and maybe Matlocks, weren't they originally based off of like other novellas that were like separate, like standalone crime novellas that they just kind of like fused to be a story for them? Because those were always like hour-long things, weren't they?
Yeah, the episodes of Matlock were like hour-long.
Yeah.
Episodes.
At least I feel I either watched the Columbo pilot. I was actually surprised that it was as good as it was, but I think it said it was based off of some other thing.
You ever watch the movie, any of the movie adaptations of 10 Little Indians?
Oh, shit. The ball is down. Oh, my God. And Ian Happ is fucking falling on the ground. 10 Little Indians. I'm not familiar with that. What is that one?
That's the one where a bunch of people get invited to a mansion on an island. And then when they get there, their host isn't there. But then a recording plays saying that the host was a judge, and they're all criminals who he felt were unfairly found not guilty.
Oh, wow.
And so he's called them to this island to kill them all one at a time.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a classic one, but the original story, let me put it this way. The original story, the title, isn't Indians, and Indians is incredibly more PC than the original title.
That's what I was just gonna say. It's funny that you say that, because I was gonna be like, Indians, I don't think that would fly nowadays, and you're like, well, let me tell you why it would more so.
By comparison, it's quite enlightened.
I like how they're like, how can we keep the racism but tune it down a little? And they're like, okay. I'm interested when that name got changed originally. That's what interests me, is to be like, what was that in like the 60s, or like the 60s or 70s they changed the name of it?
Well, they could change it now.
To 10 Little Dagos or something like that.
No.
10 Little Wops, and then 20 years from now they're like, God, again? How many times are we going to have to change this? 10 Little Frenchmen. I'm going to make a screenplay now called 10 Little Frenchmen. And it's going to be that story. They'll love it. They'll love it.
Oh, boy.
Yu Darvish has Colin.
Look at that realism. You can even see the dirt on his pants.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they do that. It's fairly realistic. Yu Darvish, in that case, Yu Darvish definitely hit that guy on accident. Because he had him, and that's the other thing. If you have a hitter's 0-2, if you have 2 strikes on a hitter with no ball, with 2 strikes on a hitter and no balls, you're not hitting that person on purpose if you hit them, because you're very close to striking them out. Yeah, so yeah. And now the bases are loaded with Gregory Polanco.
Oh boy.
And then also, if you hit somebody, often it'll be, if the score is lopsided one way or the other, or if there's like 2 outs and nobody on. Often, if you do something like that, it often is of little circumstance to the game at hand.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these people in the backgrounds. Are you suppose these are people who worked on the game, who lent their likeness?
That's a good question. I don't know if they did face scans. I mean, you used to be able to. That was a big thing for a while, wasn't it? Is scanning your face and putting it on the players and or even on the lead characters in video games.
There was some stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah, what happened to that? That was like a deal for a second, wasn't it? All right, pop-up. Second baseman Jason Kipnis is under it, and it's done. Yu Darvish gets out of the inning with minimal damage, but still, that guy did damage to him with a 2-run double, I think.
So if you make it home before they catch it, that counts.
No.
Or what?
If they catch, you have to stay. If they catch it in the air, you have to stay on the base until they catch it, and then you can run to the other bases. So like if there was a runner on third and he caught that, he wouldn't be able to leave third until the ball goes into the mitt of the player.
Okay.
And then he can go home. That's why a lot of times they get double play will happen, because the runner will go because they don't think the person's going to catch it, and then they catch it, and then they have to try and run back and a chase to get back to the bag.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting gamble to have to do.
Yes, and it makes it exciting because there's oftentimes where a play, if there's anyone on third with 1 or 0 outs, often players are almost encouraged just to make a good enough contact and elevate the ball enough to get it. I mean, they're going to try and hit a home run, but they're just going to try and hit the ball far enough where the person on third can get home if it gets caught. And David Bodie strikes out. Fucking David Bodie. Also, the way I set the Cubs lineup tonight was I sat down 2 of their stars. I sat down 2 of their 3 most famous players to conserve energy because they were getting low on energy. But this is one of their other best players. In fact, I actually, hits right into the shift. In fact, I actually sat down. They're also one of their best outfielders too. So I sat down the starting shortstop, the starting third baseman, and the starting right fielder are all sitting down. Basically, most of the position players that are making the most money are sitting down. Ooh, Schwarber also hits into that was too quick of an inning for my liking. Oh, Kramer, there is a Kramer. They have a Kramer and a Newman. That's crazy.
So there's a Kramer on the other team. It'd be Kramer versus Kramer.
Kramer.
And then who would get the child? I don't know.
Have you ever seen Kramer versus Kramer?
I have not.
I haven't either. It's supposed to be good. I'm sure it's fine. 70s Dustin Hoffman.
Is this a real person?
It's hitting?
Watney?
I think so. Yes. They have, because I turned off, that's the other thing. You can turn off, I turned off the commentary. Because there's like 2 or 3 guys that do the regular broadcast, but you can change the settings a bunch to get rid of that. And I obviously, since I'm doing it right now, I don't want to pretend like I'm talking with them and over them. So,
it'd be like you're a ghost who is trying to commentate. Is that the verb? Commentate?
Yes, commentate. Yes, that is the verb.
And then they just don't notice you, so they just keep going.
Yeah, as opposed to everyone when I was alive who just doesn't pay attention to me because they don't like what I'm saying. Because I'm annoying.
A game where you're a ghost in a baseball field and you're trying to do what you can to affect the outcome of the game with your limited ghost powers.
Gerald, I hope Hollywood never finds out about you. They're just gonna throw you in a room and just they'll just feed you in steaks and you won't question it. You'll just go along with it.
I guess that's basically the plot of Angels in the Outfield, isn't it? That's
yes.
What I just described.
It kind of is. And then it's a real trumped up thing where they're like, we'll help you cheat to get to the playoffs, but not get to the like, they're okay with regular season cheating from God, but they don't mess with the playoffs. That's literally a plot point where Christopher Lloyd's like, I don't mess with the playoffs. And it's like, what? So then they have to, find the fucking winners within themselves or whatever. Angels in the Outfield, probably the worst of those 3 baseball kid movies.
What's the third one? The other one I assume is Field of Dreams.
Oh no, with the kid, Rookie of the Year.
Oh, okay.
It's where he becomes the pitcher for the Cubs. Little Big League. Little Big League is where his grandpa is the owner of the Twins and dies and leaves him the Twins, and he becomes the manager. He hires himself as the manager of the Twins because he's knows a lot about baseball. Actually, and Little Big League is better than Rookie of the Year, I think. I think it was made in response to Rookie of the Year, but it's way better. And ironically, it sounds more plausible, but it's also not legal to the rules. You can't own the team and also be the manager, because Ted Turner did that once in the 70s or 80s, and it made everyone really mad. He
replace everyone with buffaloes.
Yes. He just got a buff. If he ever owned a hockey team, Ted Turner would hire a buffalo as the goalie, because you just stick in a buffalo. Ain't no rules say a buffalo can't play hockey. I watched Semi-Pro again recently, and they're talking about playing basketball drunk, and he's like, ain't no rules say you can't play drunk. And then someone's like, actually, there exactly is a rule that says you can't do that. Semi-Pro is fun. Semi-Pro is the kind of movie where they just put a bunch of funny people around a loose outline of things and let them go at it. And it yields really mixed results. Oh.
That's Judd Apatow's whole thing.
I'm trying to think if that was an Apatow or if it was what's his name, who works with Will Ferrell all the time, who's his brother-in-law. God, what's his name? He does the series. He did the Big Short and Vice. Why can't I think of his name? They did then Talladega Nights and
John C. Reilly?
Michael McKay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured out who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's mostly a writer-director. Very rarely is he.
I just watched a movie that very, very briefly had Will Ferrell in it.
Really? What movie is that?
The Lego Movie Part 2.
That's fun.
Great.
Yeah, I found it very. I love how they make fun of Chris Pratt in that.
Yeah, that's good.
I love how it's he's and he also works with Raptor, or he's also a Raptor wrangler or whatever.
Was that one also written by Lord and Miller? Did they also?
Yeah, I think so. I think they at least wrote it. I don't know if one of them directed it. Or not.
I don't think they directed somebody who I didn't recognize.
Yeah.
Directed. But it was a great little movie. It had fun musical numbers.
Yeah. I mean, I think, and that's one reason why I was mad. When they got fired off the Han Solo movie, I wanted to be like, these guys have done nothing but deliver gold to you the last... Like the Lego movie if you write something that grosses $1 billion... You shouldn't get fired off of any projects that until you bomb bad. But supposedly though they claim that helped. Getting fired off of that helped them concentrate on the Spider-Verse movie more.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Which is which is true or not true? You know what I mean? Wouldn't you say that no matter what? Wouldn't you be like, no, it made it so that I was able to make this amazing movie better? Okay, maybe. But I think I really want to see what they would have done with that movie. Because that movie is so... Especially when Ron Howard took over, I was like, oh, great, this movie will be really mediocre. I was like, fantastic. This movie's going to be very bland and mediocre. Because...
I liked it. I didn't think I was going to, but I enjoyed it.
It was fine. My biggest qualm was the Han Solo guy. I didn't like his Han Solo is all about the one-liners. That guy's not a good comedian. He's not good at delivering comedic one-liners. He emotes very well. Like the faces he makes and the like facial reactions and things are like great. But when he says words, boy oh boy, do I not like how they're delivered. Am I wrong? Did you like him?
I thought he was fine.
Yeah, sure. But I think he was and everyone's like, yeah, you can't expect him to be Harrison Ford. And I'm like, I don't expect him to be Harrison Ford. I expect him to deliver lines good, like, and but
Harrison Ford is barely Harrison Ford anymore.
Yeah, Harrison Ford is like a bad caricature of Harrison Ford now. It's weird. It's weird to be that age because it seems like he's always like, show me the money, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking 100 years old. Like, what are you gonna do with more money? Like, what are you talking about? What do you need it for? What do you do?
Yeah, what does he do with his time, you suppose?
I don't know.
It seems like anything he's doing is an inconvenience, like it's taking him away from something else. But what is that thing? Is he
flies
a huge model train set? Like what?
He flies airplanes and helicopters. Do you remember that? Have you heard that audio clip of where he like almost crashes?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? And he knows it's his fault? Oh man. Check out like Harrison Ford flying plane almost crashing or something like that. Because he's like, oh shit, like, oh man, I need to look it up. But he basically is like, oh shit, that's my fault. Oh my god. Something like that. But it's just very, very weird. He also saved a man once with his helicopter from a forest fire. But also, I don't know if that was like him going out and doing it, or if he was just happened to be in his helicopter and they were like, hey, it's one of those things that you have to do. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you're the closest person to this person. You need to go pick them up or they'll die. I'm sure he was just like, ugh, okay. Where is he at? Wherever's not on fire? Okay, all right.
You think he threw off a cool one-liner when he picked the guy up, like, hey, your Uber's here?
Yeah. Don't touch the radio dial.
It truly would be an Uber, because they're over in the air.
I don't understand it, and I don't like it.
Uber means over.
Does Uber mean over?
Yes.
I did not know that. I thought Uber meant new.
It means a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm sure. There's probably...
Or does Neo mean new? Neo means new in something, right?
As I recall, yeah, it means over, but it also can mean over in the sense of over there and in literally over something like Uber.
Like I'm so Uber? Like I'm so Uber.
So yeah, it's all these things.
Strike. Josh Bell's up to bat. It's funny, someone gave me notes about the thing, and bless their heart, if you're watching, thank you very much for giving me notes. They were good notes, but I also was just like, well, I'm not really putting a lot into this yet. Like all of his notes were completely like, yes, I agree with everything you said, but also I'm not really trying much right now. I'm just sort of having fun. Gerald, I do get my... Have you ever Twitch streamed, Gerald?
Yes.
Do you like it?
I mean, it's fine.
I'm wondering if and I need to see, I looked at a thing where I could like make it so it doesn't really lag, but once I ordered a PS4 camera, so that way I'll be able to live stream straight to it. So that way we can just literally live stream with it, and I will be on TV, and then also, is that a thing where I would be able to like add you, like from Twitch? Do people sometimes jump on their webcams from another Twitch to Twitch streams? Does that make sense? Did I say that confusingly?
People use they'll use what's the program, Skype or whatever, and then use OBS on their computers.
Well, I'm using OBS to record, but I'm saying when I get the camera.
Like you can set OBS is like recording everything that comes through your computer speakers.
Yeah.
So if my voice is also coming through your computer speakers through Skype, then it would also record that.
Okay.
So you would have to figure out the levels you want,
Yes.
so that not too loud or soft.
Yeah.
But,
I've got a blue snowball that I'm using for our audio, where I'm just holding you about 5 inches away from it, and I'm talking about 12 inches away from it. So, yeah.
This lady again.
Yeah, I know. Heidi Watney.
She's wearing. Is it like cold out? When is this set?
This is. It's about now. It's about. It's a few days. It's April 1st, maybe. It might be April Fool's.
Oh, hey, look! It's Louis C.K.
Wow. Jason Kipnis.
I got an email from Louis C.K. today. He's got a new comedy special that released.
Does he really?
Yes. I don't know if I'm willing to pay money for it.
Is it another $5 or just it's either you have to open up an MPEG of him jerking off or else $5?
It was like $8.
Ooh, someone must not. Times must be tough if he's starting to up.
That's inflation. The inflation
of his cock.
penis.
I knew that was. Gerald, I know you so well that I'm like I know where he's going with this. I know where he's gonna say. I will say I still want to see that movie. I Love You, Daddy. I really want to see that movie.
I mean, it's probably great.
Yeah.
Like, everything he made was great. That's what made it so hard.
Yeah.
It's
Because it played at like 2 festivals, so like only like not that many people have even seen it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it played at like the Toronto Festival. I can't.
He bought the rights back.
Yes, he bought the rights back to it. Well, because they weren't going to release it. He bought the rights back because they were just going to be like, well, we're sitting on this until you're dead or something. You know what I mean? Until whatever.
That'd be interesting if he kept recording stuff in movies and like not releasing it, and then when he died, like
just
it all came out, and it was like, well, okay, so now it's not supporting him to do this. Like, well, how do I feel about this?
Like he donates his estate to like some good cause, and everyone's like, all right, give it a look. But I really wanted to see that. I mean, it's got Malkovich, and it's got what's her name? She's a good actress. And Charlie Day's in it too. The girl that played Carrie, Charlie Grace Moretz, what's her name? Grace Moretz, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Okay.
She's the lead girl in it, lady in it. Or well, yeah, she's Lady Girl. I say that because her character is supposed to be like on the cusp of that. It's yeah.
Like, that's the point of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like how Charlie Day, when he was there, because I remember watching an interview with Charlie Day, and Charlie Day talked about reading it, and he was like, "This is about Woody Allen, isn't it?" And Louis was like, "Oh, you know." Oh, I like how there's this one kid. Oh, there was this one kid not standing up, who was like, "I'm not having it," or they might have just been in a chair. I'm not sure, because they might have they might be in a wheelchair. Now I'm not sure. You see in the green shirt in the upper left hand side?
Oh yeah, I see that kid.
Yeah.
They got like
they got very thin legs.
Yeah, they're like thin and like pointing inwards.
Yeah. So that's why I'm genuinely.
It could just be an awkward kid. You never know.
We'll see, but they crossed the legs. That means there's like feeling in them at least, because they didn't use the arms to do it really. Oh, they're trying turn 2, and they do. Gosh darn it. Gerald, I'm going to leave you alone to talk to the people for a second while I get a refill on my whiskey. You can spin a yarn.
Oh, wow. I spent many hours today making myself a mask, because that's what you're supposed to do now. We're supposed to all wear cloth masks, not surgical grade, save those for the medical professionals, but we're all supposed to wear cloth masks when we're out and about to help, just generally prevent the spread and really, a lot of the things that we're doing now are things we always should have been doing. You know, like, I'm sick. Maybe I shouldn't be around people, just in general. Like, it's not like the regular flu can't kill old people, so maybe don't be driving around while you got a fever.
Yeah, but the flu's old hat, though, Gerald. You know?
Listen, I love my old hats. I keep them in my closet. I take them out every once in a while. I got a purple, like, pimp hat, you know, with the fur and feathers. It's great. And then I look in the mirror and I say, you are the Mac Daddy. That's you. And it's all I want. It's all I want out of life.
He wasn't in the secondary here.
Alright, let's see here. There's exciting things happening. You should really be saying things about all these exciting things.
I'm almost done. I'm almost back.
It's Wrigley Field. And then doing the replay. Of course, what I'm seeing, I guess, is behind what everyone else is seeing, right? Because I'm watching on, like, a delay. So
yes.
It's like I'm coming to people from the past here.
Yes.
Listen,
as opposed to you coming into people's behinds, right? Like you usually do. I'm back.
Oh, that was very exhausting.
Yeah.
I'm not used to talking a lot to people, you see. That's not something I do a lot in my free time. Talk to people about my weird ideas.
Yeah. You just message me your weird ideas.
Let's see, what have I come up with? I feel like I've come up with some good stuff.
No, you have. It's funny because you come up with good movie ideas, and I'm like, yeah, you should write that, and you're like, ah. It's like.
Here's a joke I came up with. I prefer Dom machine guns.
Dom, like dominatrixes?
Yeah, instead of submachine guns.
Oh, okay, yes, that's good.
Guns.
That's good. Machine guns that tell you you're a dirty piece of shit before they kill you, right?
That's right. That's right.
Oh boy, that's gonna be a home run. That's what that camera angle almost always means, especially once they start stallings. Yu Darvish says, why does they gave Yu Darvish some fucking wolf boy hair in this.
Are you sure that's not Eddie Munster?
Yes. Dun 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 dun.
I like that there's the one member of the family who's just a hot chick. And it's like, how do the writers fit that in? Like, we need some eye candy on this show. How are we gonna spin this? Is she some kind of monster? No, she's the only one who isn't a monster.
Is that what it? In that? Wait, what was? I don't even know.
In the Munsters, one of the members of the family was just like normal, and she's just blonde.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Is she weird at least, or is that part of the thing where she's like, my family, goo?
I don't remember. It's been so long.
Yeah. I saw. Here's where my brain went with that. I'll explain my thought process. Is the guy that's the dad in the Munsters, Herman? He was in Pet Sematary, the original, but I just watched the remake of Pet Sematary. Have you seen the remake of Pet Sematary?
Listen, I don't need to know about what happens when you bury children's bodies in a pet cemetery. I'm living there every day.
Yeah. You're one of those people like how my friend who gets paid to play video games says she doesn't play video games in her free time because she feels like she's at work. That's you with burying small animals on Indian burial grounds, right? Is like watch a movie about it. Ugh, I do this all the time, every day.
And they don't come back, believe you me.
Oh, yeah. You even make the graves real shallow for them in case they want to get out.
Do you ever see the thing with the little bell they used to have.
Is that where Dead Ringer comes from, right?
Maybe?
I think that's where Dead Ringer comes from.
That's why I'm in favor of embalming. Like, I don't know if it actually has any of the benefits they say it does, but at the very least, I'll be
You
dead
really
when
be
they
dead.
put me in the ground.
Or, oh wow, down the line. Sorry, Anthony Rizzo hits one. It's gonna be 2, maybe 3. No, he's gonna stay at 2. That's a smart choice. Yes. Or like those horror stories where like people wake up in the morgue, like about to be embalmed, but it's like maybe give it a day before you start embalming people. Or like if you wake up with a toe tag and it's just like, what happened here? Well, isn't that what they say? The serpent and the rainbow? Wasn't that was like is that it was one of those things where it's like they weren't zombies. It was like they were given a drug that like paralyzes you for a day or two. So like people would come out of their graves because they weren't dead.
Yeah.
It's like that episode of Lost.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's basically a Twilight Zone episode. Where he says Palo lies, but you find out she was saying I'm paralyzed.
Yeah. And then they killed them.
Yeah. Not only that, they buried them alive. Like the last shots are like of their point of view of like dirt being thrown on their like barely opening eyes as as she's dying. Like that's fucked up.
It could have gone darker. Like if one of them was like, "Well, they're dead bodies. Why not?"
Yes. Hurley walks up there and he's all like, "Oh, it's not the only thing I like to. Food's not the only thing I like to eat, you know."
like that's the post-credit scene is Hurley digging them back up again after everyone else is gone.
There's still time. There's still time.
That meat's still good.
Yes.
It's just like when they cook a pig in a pit in Hawaii, right? They
little luau. Little luau. That'd be a funny sketch, right? Where they do a luau by the pet cemetery, and they're like, "Don't you put that pig in the ground? Sometimes what you put in the ground ain't what came out the ground. Sometimes what comes out the ground ain't what you put in. Sometimes dead is better." No, but the remake is like, it's annoying because they like the remake almost like presumes that you've read the book or that you've seen the original movie because it has twists. It has twists that are only interesting if you've seen the original thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it just varies from the original like enough where you're like, oh, well, they were expecting me to think that the thing that happened, you know, originally in the real story. I don't know. Did you see it?
I did not. I have no desire to see this film.
I think it's on Netflix or Hulu, but it does have John Lithgow as the Judd character from the Herman Monster character.
Sometimes dead is better.
I know what you're thinking. Don't. That's one of my favorite characters from the South Park. Is whenever it. Don't do it, Stotch. Don't bury your dead son. Don't do it, Stotch. Wilson Contreras is up. He's 0 for 2, so he's due for a big hit. A big 3-run homer right about now would be just what the doctors ordered. Some would call it a storybook. I think when you're 2-1, that's a good hitter's count. Here goes. Oh, Wilson is a little too aggressive at a ball low and down. With no outs, I think maybe you need to let that one sail by, especially when you're in the cleanup spot. I mean, not especially, because that's the spot that's supposed to hit, but, and he swung at another ball. Overly aggressive there, I think. I think when you have the chance to keep getting on base with no outs, maybe be a little more selective, but here we go. Oh, Wilson Contreras. Who's up now? Ian Happ is up. And the bullpen's alive with the Pirates. What?
Colonel Hapablab?
Yes. I don't even know what that is.
It's a Simpsons reference.
Everything after season 13 or 14 might as well be Greek to me.
It's like season 5.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
What episode?
It's where Bob tries to blow up everyone to shut down TV.
Ah. I don't know if I'm not sure if I mean, I'm sure I've seen it. I don't have.
Let's see.
What about Cancelman Les Winan?
That episode is so depressingly on point.
Which one? The one where Bob runs for
Just it's just all terrible.
Yeah, it's all terrible. All the politicians are terrible. Like Quimby is somehow the lesser evil, even though he's just a fucking drunken Kennedy who's a bad person. Oh yeah, there, chowder.
Oh, that guy was pretending to be an airplane there. When he put his arms out to the side, he was like, "Whoa, I'm an airplane."
Ooh. And then he went side to side because it was windy out, and it makes him feel like he's going through the wind.
That's right.
Gerald, do you feel honored that you are the first person to have a second appearance on the show?
Well, I mean, I'm so compelling. That's why they call me a repeat offender.
Yes, that's why. Oh my God, they got him out at. Are you fucking kidding me? Oh, that's another thing that maybe wouldn't happen in real life. There. I mean, maybe it would. Sometimes happens like that, but you'd have a better idea of if they were gonna catch it, probably. Well, nuts. I just got a bunch of beer from the yacht club because it's all going expired.
Oh, wow.
So I have a lot of beer.
Is any of the frozen food going expired? I suppose they would give that to
I
you
didn't
guys.
even think about that. I should have, Gerald. I'm sorry. I'm guessing that they took it all to home. I'm guessing Tony took a bunch of it home.
I wouldn't be surprised if you went in there and Pursuit was just living in there.
Pursuit took all. I was really mad because I was like, I want some. I was like, can I get hams? And they were like, Nancy already took all. Like, Nancy had already been in twice to get beer. And all the hams was gone. And Nancy and I in all those bars, we are the only two people that work there that drink hams. For sure. Like, I don't think anyone else drinks hams there. But I did get some Guinness. I got Lagunitas. I got some Budweiser. Oof.
Guinness. I don't know. I've been trying to figure out my
your beer.
How to make good brats and Guinness.
Yeah.
And I tried. The problem is if you cook them in there too long, the brats get all soft and they lose that bite to them. You know that brats have. So I think the real thing maybe is I'll try marinating overnight and then just cooking.
Have you tried Guinness cake? I think Guinness would go better with a sweet than it would a thing like that. Like, I would use more of a regular. Well, I don't know. I'd use more of a regular. What is that? What beers have you used for your brats?
Just Guinness. Guinness is what everyone says.
Is what everyone says? Do you do it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It tasted good. It was a problem with the texture of it.
Okay.
But the taste was very good.
Interesting.
Yeah, onions and Guinness.
Yeah.
And some other things, but
Guinness is good for you. That's their slogan in every country except the United States. Still, is Guinness is good for you. Guinness used to be. I don't know when they stopped. It wasn't that recently. But somewhat recently was in Ireland. Pregnant women were prescribed a Guinness a day. Just one, because it's got fish oils in it and shit. You know. Oh boy. Because technically Guinness is not vegan. It has fish oil in it. Guinness is a super weird. I mean, I love it, but it's way different than most beers. It genuinely tastes like chocolate milk to me. It's lower in calories than most beers. People don't realize that. Like it's almost caloried like a light beer.
And now the spokesman is Nick Offerman, right?
Is he? I think I saw I didn't watch it, but I think I saw a thing. That's almost too good of that's like almost too good of marketing for me, where I don't want to watch it because I've already bought into both of those things. You know what I mean? Like, I like Nick Offerman, I like Guinness. I don't need to watch anything with them. I already like both. I watch both. I'll drink the real thing, and I'll watch him in things.
He's good in devs.
He's good in devs. It's interesting that he was like, I want to take a series. His hair is bewildering to me. Of all the crazy things going on philosophically and theoretically in that show, I keep going back to like, so is he supposed to have highlights, or like, because he doesn't seem like the type. Like, his character seems like a person who wouldn't highlight their hair, like that would be the furthest thing from their mind. But his beard definitely doesn't match with his hair coloring. I know I'm thinking about it more than everyone else probably. But you understand what I'm saying.
Some people are like that. They have different colored hair and beard.
I mean, yes, but not to that extent, though. Like,
he's just supposed to look like some schlub, like all the tech millionaires, you
yeah.
know?
Ooh, David Bodie making a nice play at third. Possibly to end the inning. If I was paying more attention, I'd know. David Bodie. He goes, hey! Ha! In slow-mo. I like how the replay didn't even show the ball going into his glove, but okay, fine.
Take our word for it.
Yeah, like, and I don't think it's my fault for the whatever ratio I have on my thing, especially because if I'm streaming it, I'm guessing it's, ooh, Nico Horner's up. I did sub in Nico Horner for Javier Baez, and he's 0 for 2. He is not making me look like a good manager. Tonight, he did well. He's done well, okay up until now, I thought. Ooh, good
Nico
eye.
Horner,
Nico
sat
Horner.
in his corner.
This is the first time that that Gerald hasn't been able to think of words to say. You were doing like double Dutch stuff there. Nico Horner sat in his corner, couldn't figure out what something torn her.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough to figure out the Mother Goose situation with the pies.
I thought we were gonna do like a stabbed his girlfriend and it torn her. Oh. Let's hope he doesn't really do that nowadays, because that happens. He's staying in there. He's hanging in there. And the Pirates did go to their bullpen. The game really does fly by when I'm not paying any attention to it whatsoever. But they're into their bullpen now. Richard Rodriguez, or is what they call him Rick Rod. I don't know if they call him Rick Rod, but they should.
Rick Rod.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, Rick Rod. Or Rero. I was watching The Tudors, and there's literally a character named Richard Rich. And I was like, really? Was there really a person named Richard Rich? Probably. I don't think...
Is he a little blonde kid?
Yes. He comes in, and he has he gets out his napkin that's actually just a bunch of dollar bills strewn together. That is one of my favorite Simpsons. That's about when I stopped watching The Simpsons, but that's one of my favorite, where they're like, when Richie Rich fills in for Bart, he's like, do not have a cow, mother, and using a dollar bill as a napkin.
Old Richie Rich.
Old Richie Rich. Did you like that movie? Were you a fan of the live action Macaulay Culkin movie?
I don't remember anything about it.
He has a McDonald's in his basement, which almost is like borderline slavery that you would like. Although also, to be fair, how awesome would that be to work at a McDonald's and be like, yeah, all we have to do is like get this kid food when he wants it. Like, we're a full McDonald's store, fully staffed, but we only have to serve one kid.
Oh, circling back to Lost, was it Hurley, like his personal chefs? Like he found them at an IHOP or something?
Oh, I don't know. That sounds accurate. That sounds like the most Hurley thing to do. Don't you just love Hurley?
Oh yes, he's just likable. In a show full of assholes who did bad things, The only thing, he didn't actually do anything wrong. He didn't know that those were magical numbers.
Yeah. Although, you know what's fucked up is the people that play those numbers in the lottery. It's stupid for so many reasons. One reason, because a lot of other people play that number.
Yeah,
so if you have to split, you're gonna have to split it like 200 ways because of 200 other idiot or because 199 other idiot Lost fans do it. So if you get that once in 100, in 200 some million, you somehow now have to split it. Which is what you do. And also, the point of that is the numbers are bad. That's literally it's like the numbers are bad. His life got terrible after he won. Like, it's like they weren't, I don't know.
Yeah, he only ever tried to do nice things with his money. Buy his mom a house, right? That was a big thing.
Yeah, and then
burned down.
and then have Cheech Marin treat him like his son. That's all he wanted. I will say, that's where I I'm not sure first. The first time I remember the song Shambhala, if you remember that, because there's the episode where they're like, ooh, could the Cubs maybe tie it up? It looks like, it does into the basket. Carol fucking Baskets. That's very of the moment right now. I just made a Tiger King reference, so if anyone watches this 10 years from now, they're going to be like, oh, so that's when this came out. That Tiger King week during the virus that killed too many people.
Yeah, the fact that this game has the year in it won't let them know when this came out.
No. Well, people still live stream the other years. People still live stream MLB, all the other shows. People are still doing that.
Oh, look at that. They've misspelled rib. They spelled it RBI. That's not how you spell delicious ribs.
You'll like this, Gerald. There's arguments over to call them RBIs or RBI when they're plural. Because it's runs batted in. So some people say RBIs, but then when people say no, that makes it sound like you're saying runs batted ins.
That sounds like my romantic song I would release, the single. I've got RBIs.
Just you and I, you got RBIs. I do like that.
They have the meats and they can't disguise.
Yes. I didn't even know that that's where you're going with it. I should have known. RBIs. We got the meats. We got the meats and some chicken thighs we got. That's what, if they ever really went with the chicken, that's what they say. We not only the meats, but also chicken thighs.
I haven't tried their new, fish sandwich? Is that what they were pushing? A new fancy fish sandwich? Supposed to be better than McDonald's.
Is that what they're pushing? I like how you're making Arby's sound like a heroin dealer on the blog. Oh, David Bodie! David Bodie, who I substituted for All-Star, I'm assuming Chris Bryant was an All-Star one or 2 years, MVP and Rookie of the Year. David Bodie got subbed in for Chris Bryant and just hit the 2-run go-ahead home run. Did it hit the pole? It went, almost hit the pole. It went over, and the pitcher knew right away. He's going, geez. Nicely done. And the Cubs go from tied to with a 2-run lead in the 7th inning. That is a big, and they got the heart of the order up here with Anthony Rizzo in the 2-hole. Do you think I'm okay? Do you think I'm a decent announcer, Perry?
Fine.
I will say I have a newfound respect for when real commentators have people in the booth. To be able to find that balance between holding a conversation and actually calling the game at the same time is hard. Oh, Anthony Rizzo rips it down the line, but foul. It makes a lot more sense now whenever Jeff Garland is drunk at the Cubs game, of why it just seems like a train wreck, because it's just him having fun, and you can tell they love it. But also, it was funny because Jeff Garland just goes nuts, and just you can tell he's drunk, and he's a Cubs fan. And last time, are you familiar with A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
So he's a commentator now, and you know, he was on steroids. He hit it. I mean, he was great, but he was on steroids. He denied it, even until it was like, he basically denied it until it was undeniable. But now he gets to be a commentator, even though it's like he has like $250 million. Why, like, and also he got caught for cheating, and people are mad at him. Like, why is he? But Jeff Garlin was like talking about how he hates him as a commentator, and the other two commentators, you can tell, like, basically they're smart enough where they're like, we love what he's saying, but we can't be like, yeah, we agree. So they're just like, Jeff. And he's just like, yeah, he got caught being a cheater, and now he gets to be an announcer? That's stupid. Like, I don't know. It's very funny.
It's quite a way. You know what else I watched recently? Here's another movie we could talk about.
What's that?
Detective Pikachu.
I just watched that like 2 days ago. It was okay. It was all right.
It's fun, and it looked good. Like the look of the world was just fun.
So had he never heard his dad's voice before?
They were estranged.
Okay.
Maybe he hadn't like talked to him for a
No,
while.
still though, wouldn't you be like, you kind of sound like my dad? Like, I also like how, and it just shows how people do think about things, is how, like, being a biracial offspring is like a plot twist for when you find out who their parentage is. Because like in Spider-Man, when you find out Michael Keaton is Zendaya's dad, you're like, didn't see that one coming. Right? I think that I'm not alone in being like, oh wow, like no one thought that was what was going on, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to do.
But it's becoming more popular to do that, and I do think it does catch people more off guard. I'm not saying I'm for or against. I'm not one of those people like, it makes me mad. Like, I'm not trying to say that by any means. I just
gotta keep Michael Keaton's bloodline pure.
that pure Keaton bloodline. No. I just find it interesting that's becoming more, and not only that it's like that's becoming the way to make it be a twist, is like to hide the parentage, just be like, let's make the kid biracial, and then we'll make one of the parents so this race, and they won't know. It's interesting. I also, like I was telling you, I find it interesting that like commercials 20 years ago had no interracial relationships. Now every commercial, every couple is interracial. I feel like, largely. Once again, I'm not against it. I just find it interesting that it used to be like not okay to do it, and now they're like, we gotta make sure that we have at least 4 ethnicities represented in these 3 people. And you're like, I don't know.
Well, listen, that's how you know Bounty is a good role. It can
Yes.
it can clean up all the racial tension.
It absorbs all of the grandparents who aren't into its racial slurs. Just put it over your ears. Just put it over your ears and let it absorb your horrible grandparents.
Oh, things are happening.
Yes. Cubs have runners on first and second with 1 person out. Ian Happ is up. He's got a double and a single. He's a triple and a home run shy of the cycle. I don't know why I said that, because he's probably only going to get this at bat left. And the triple and home run are the 2 hardest parts of the cycle. Do you know what the cycle is, Gerald?
I can guess that it's getting all the different types of outcomes.
Yes, that is true. That is exactly what it is. Ooh, up the middle. Is he going to send him? Bryant stays. Good call, although he might have got there. It was a bad throw. Yeah, and that's funny. It's funny because it's such an arbitrary thing. Like, one time, this guy was a single shy of the cycle, and he went for 2. And I'm not sure if he got it or not, but all of his teammates were like, what are you doing? And he was like, a double is better than a single. Like it's such an don't get me wrong, it's still an accomplishment because it means you got 4 hits.
Right.
You know,
so
minimum.
He didn't let his OCD wanting to complete that get in the way of making the better play.
Yes. And I think, I could be wrong, but I think the last Cub that hit for the cycle was Mark Grace in the 90s, to show you how rare it is. because it doesn't happen very often. Especially largely because the triple is really hard to get. Like a triple is more rare than a home run. Especially nowadays. I'm guessing there's 10% amount of triples as there are home runs nowadays. Because it's hard. There we go. Because baseball fields are dimensioned in such a way, and speed isn't valued as much as it should be. So there are a couple of baseball fields that like will have really deep areas that are like known as like triple. They'll call it, but that's how well known they'll be like call it like triples alley, where like if you hit it like 420 feet in center, like that's gonna bounce around.
Alley, I've been there.
Yes.
Hey.
Is that the swingers club you go to? It's where couples go to pick up a third. All right, we'll pay attention this time because last time we talked, the Cubs won, and I didn't realize it till 5 seconds after they won. So we're in the 7th. So let's just keep an eye on that.
They're up by 3. I mean, what?
They are. But they were down by 2 earlier, you know. And both teams are into their bullpen, so.
Have they programmed Bill Murray into this? Is he in there somewhere?
That's a good question.
If we have an eagle eye, can we spot Bill Murray?
It's funny you say that because I failed to believe that he wouldn't be okay with that. Like, I think he would like that. He's a big enough Cubs fan. Here's what he would do, because you know he has a golf shirt. It's called William Murray. I'm assuming he owns it, but he has like a golf shirt that's like Cubs shirts, but they're like golf shirts. And it's called William Murray. They're like collared and they're like maybe polyester. They're like pseudo dress shirts. They're the kind of shirts that like guys would wear to Pearson with khakis on. You know what I mean? They're like kind of like they almost look like polo shirts, but they look like shiny and kind of like slick.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like it's a golf. You ever golf, Gerald?
Nope.
It's fun.
Putt. I like a good putt.
I love a good putt. We should go to Craig Kimbrell's in. Do you see the thing he's doing with his arm? You'll see it in a second.
What's he doing?
When he hangs his right arm. You'll see in a second. Or you should be seeing it. He just did it a second ago. He'll do it again here. But he's the closer for the Cubs. He will be the closer for the Cubs. He was last year. He was terrible. You see the thing he did where he hangs his arm to like with his elbow up?
Not really.
Oh, you didn't see it? He'll do it again here.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Okay.
What is that?
So I used to hate that because it's really weird. Supposedly, I always thought he was like doing like a Wild West bullshit thing. He actually had an injury, and whatever it was, it made his arm feel better to hang it like that before the pitch. So he like just started doing that. So that's why he does that, and I used to hate it. He is the pitcher. Do you know when I saw the Cubs game on my birthday last year?
Let's see.
You ever heard me talk about when I went to that game last year on my birthday?
Maybe. What is the story?
The Cubs were up by 1 run, and he's their closer. He came in either the 8th or the 9th inning. He threw two pitches. So the first pitch he throws, home run, tie game. Second pitch he throws, home run. Cubs are down by 1. So he comes in to close the game and throws 2 consecutive home runs. It was terrible.
I mean, just because he's the closer doesn't mean that's a favorable outcome, right?
Yes.
He did end things.
He was like, one way or another, this game's fucking ending soon. And I'm going to be largely responsible.
Coffee, though, right?
What?
That means he gets coffee, right?
Yes, he does afterwards. They pour a giant Gatorade thing of steaming hot coffee on you. That's what they should do when you blow a save like that. Is just like tar and feather you, but with hot coffee. And then they just throw fucking, I don't know what feathers you would use. And I looked up tar. I didn't realize tar and feathering has been done for centuries. Because I was looking up where it originated from, and it was like in medieval times.
Yeah. That's like a very old thing.
Yeah.
What's quick pitch? Why is that on the?
Oh, is there a quick pitch?
On like the back where they have the advertisements.
Oh.
It just said quick pitch.
I don't know. Let me look and see. It might.
It cycles through.
Yeah. No, I know it has like a little cycle thing. Well, I'm sure it was a company or some sort of thing. But a quick pitch in baseball is like, you know how he like becomes set there and waits a second before he throws?
Yeah.
Sometimes pitchers, and it's kind of shifty, but it like is technically illegal, is they'll like become set, but they'll like won't take as much time as they usually do, and they'll throw it real quick just to get the batter like off fucking kilter. So like he'd like throw it right now, like he would throw it like right then, like sorry, you'll get it, but like right when he becomes set, like because once you become set, you can like throw it. Yeah. Wow, wow. Wow.
He's doing well here. It's really,
I mean, there's one runner on, but he's got 2 outs. He's got a 0-2. Old Kramer. Kramer is going to hopefully strike out. Oof, that was a good pitch. But Craig Kimbrell, he's an interesting... I'll go back to talking about baseball. Craig Kimbrell, he actually didn't sign with any teams last year until he signed with the Cubs. Oh, boy, that's not... great. Okay, it is okay. There were a couple of pitchers that were free agents in their 30s that didn't sign with any teams, and they were both. It was an ex-Cy Young winner with Dallas Keuchel, and then Craig Kimbrell, who's been one of the top 3 or 4 closers in the game the last 8 years or so. They didn't sign. The Cubs didn't sign him until June. Like late June, maybe, because it was one of those things where teams have been very much. Don't get me wrong, this offseason was different. They paid a lot of money, but last year teams were not paying for people. They were just like they didn't care to pay free agents the amount of money, because it's one of those things when you become a free agent, you're often getting paid for your past performance. Because you're proven, like, it's one of those things where, like, you'll be getting paid because they'll know that you're good enough, but you won't necessarily be, like, as good. You'll make more money being less good than a younger person, but just because you're proven enough where they know they'll get something good out of you. Does that make sense? Or they feel like you've earned the right to make that amount of money, if that makes sense. Because Craig Kimbrell's probably in his early 30s. But he's starting to decline some, so I don't know. It's just, but yeah, it was a crazy thing and also he sucked. He was terrible last year because he didn't have spring training. So he basically the Cubs got him. He maybe threw 1 or 2 games with the minor league team and then just immediately became a major league closer. And when you're a pitcher who doesn't get to go to spring training for a month or 2, like, and then he had injuries too, so it was just like, he was very bad. His ERA was like 6.5, like 6 point something, which is probably the highest his ERA has ever been, and like twice as big, like anything, and don't get me wrong, it's easy, when you're a closer, it's easy for your numbers to be, relief pitchers pitch less innings, right? So if you have 1 or 2 outings that go really terribly bad, your numbers are going to look real bad because you're only pitching 1 or 2 innings whenever you come in, at most, probably. So if you pitch 1 inning where you give up 7 runs, like that's going to affect the rest of your year's numbers probably. Yeah.
Hell of a thing. Whoa.
Hell of a thing. You sounded like Clint Eastwood in Unforgiven. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. You take everything he is and everything he's gonna be. Now I need to do the baseball. It's a hell of a thing killing a man. You take everything he is and everything he will be. Hell of a thing.
Clint Eastwood.
That movie's not as good as I thought it would be. I watched it like a year or two ago. It's fine. I think people liked the sentiment of it more than the movie itself. Because it's all about, like, killing isn't great. Oh, David Bodie, who hit the go-ahead home run earlier, knocks another single, keeping the Cubs alive in the 8th. And up next is Anthony Rizzo. If Anthony Rizzo could probably deliver not necessarily the knockout punch, but maybe a technical knockout punch. Something that should end it, but won't necessarily end it. We'll see. Well, I guess technically it would be the technical knockout punch. We'll see.
I was playing Knockout a couple days ago.
What's Knockout?
You know, from the Nintendo.
Punch Out?
Yeah, Punch Out.
Okay.
That's what it's called. Punch
Yeah,
Out,
the one with Mike Tyson, or the one.
No, this was the Mr. Dream.
Mr. Dream.
Version.
Well, that's which is the same.
Yes.
Like everything except Mike Tyson. Like, I like how they changed Mike Tyson into an Aryan Adonis. Like.
I wonder if that was a legal thing. Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. 100%.
I mean, like, there's no way he can accuse us of stealing his likeness if we make him white.
Yeah. No, it was a licensing thing for sure. Like, they just didn't own the right to continue to call it Mike Tyson's Punch Out anymore.
Yeah.
But
I'm saying they could have made it another black guy. But
yes.
then maybe he would have tried to challenge that. So that's
maybe.
why they went with
When they were
Mr.
just like,
Green.
there's no way that Mike Tyson can claim that this guy is him.
Yes.
Nor would he want to.
Because the body sprite is exactly the same.
Oh, yeah, everything is like, he does the same moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was it? You had a thing. Did you send me the thing with the world of the head?
Yes,
Where I'm ready to take on the world, Mac? Or
Bible Fellowship.
It's funny because I could tell. Yes, the Perry. Was that you? Are you the Perry Bible Fellowship?
Yes, that's me. I make those. Boy, am I so talented.
Well, he did. Because it's funny because I looked at it and I was like, that's Soda Popinski's body. They couldn't even get a real body. I've got a text message from him. Who texted me? Oh, never mind. Oh, great. Ethan Everhart replied to my Facebook or my Instagram story. Can't wait to see that, Ethan. If Ethan's listening.
That game, Punch Out, is interesting in that it's a game that's just every character is a racist caricature.
Yes.
And that, like, have you ever looked at the ones that they had to change from the original arcade version?
No.
Like what is it? Like Soda Popinski was originally like vodka drunkenski.
Was he really?
Yes.
That's fantastic.
He originally drank vodka, and he's a Russian dude. Like, that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
He was just, it's like, I was Russian, so
No,
I'm drunk.
no anti-Soviet thing was off the table at that moment in time. In fact, the military probably was like, could you make him more alcoholic? Could you make him more of an alcoholic? We would love it.
And I'm pretty sure one of the boxers in the original arcade game was literally named Pizza Pasta.
That's fantastic. I didn't even think they had an Italian guy in the original. But also, no. In the Wii version, though, the French one, this is one of my favorite things ever, is in the French guy, is he Don Franco or whatever?
Oh,
is it Don Franco?
No, it's, Glass Joe.
Glass Joe's the French guy?
Yeah, Glass Joe's
Okay.
the French guy.
In the you remember they made a Wii version.
There's another guy who you might be thinking of.
Is he Spanish? The Spanish is Don Franco then.
Yeah.
But
Don
okay.
Flamingo or something like
Don
that.
Flamingo, yes, that's what I'm thinking. But the French guy in the Wii version, when you knock him out, no shitting, this is for real what happens.
Yeah.
Croissants fly everywhere.
Yes.
Croissants fly everywhere. I remember seeing that and being like, only a Frenchman would you like if you had the Japanese the what's his name?
No, I think sushi rolls fly out when you beat him in the Wii version.
Do they? Okay. The only defense of that is like, well, it was Japanese people that came up with a lot of this, so Piston Honda. Yeah, did Japanese who came up with the name Piston Honda?
I It's just because the Honda company makes cars.
Yeah, no, I understand. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, I guess it's just, I don't know. I guess that's not insulting to just be like, this car company. Still. But then also he does a twitchy thing with I guess a lot of people do that with the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys who signal by, like, raising an eyebrow or twisting their eye.
The Indian one is probably the most racist because he's magic. He's magic.
It's like there's nothing in the rule book that says you can't teleport.
It's not even. There's nothing in the rule book that says I can't have smoke go everywhere while I go around in circles with my wrap, my turban.
Yeah, are there any boxers who wear a turban? Is that a thing?
I don't know.
From a particular culture, that would be, right?
I think that you would. I assume that you would be able to if it didn't cover up too much of your face, because
there are women athletes who wear the head wraps and whatnot.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It's not like that gives you an advantage.
No, I think culture is becoming more accepting of it. I will say when they were like, and there's times in wrestling where I do understand when they're like, oh, it's where they get mad that people like make people like cut their hair, but it's like you can totally shove your hair into someone's face when you're like. I understand. Don't get me wrong. I think it's both. I think religion and wrestling are both very silly. So like, I don't want to take either side in this argument because I think they're both silly things. Oh, the Cubs just won. Oh, Gerald.
That was it. Yeah,
that was it. God, we forgot again.
I saw it. Well,
victory.
From my point of view, I saw it happen.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
Play. So I'm fine.
Oh, look at the Pirates manager. I think he's new too. The Pirates fired all their pitching staff. I'm not sure if Winkler. This guy named Winkler, who I don't even know, keeps getting saves.
Computer characters are afraid that they're not going to be able to feed their families.
Yes. Like when I turn the game off, he goes home to Pittsburgh, and he has to deal with it. That's what I like to imagine. Like there's a little like the Wreck-It Ralph world, but with all my baseball players.
I would have gone with Reboot.
Reboot. I adore Reboot. Reboot was my favorite. I remember Reboot blew my fucking mind when I was little, and I loved it because I was into video games, and and it was like the first computer generated show.
Yeah. It was good. Reboot's good.
I need to go.
I haven't watched
that
it
again.
Recently.
Yeah.
I can tell you that visually speaking, Transformers Beast Wars does not hold up.
Transformers Beast Wars when I was 10, I was like, these are a little like, I like how they're like, do you want this in a cave that has no setting or a desert that has no setting but a cliff? Like I remember watching that and I'd just being like, they don't have any design, like they didn't even put like a little tree hanging out of somewhere. You know what I mean? Like there's very little things they could have done to have given a little bit of character.
It's a very barren world.
Yeah.
Lots of open fields.
Yeah. That's how I feel about the new Muppet Babies I tried watching, and I was like, oh, the new Muppet Baby, like I feel like the old Muppet Babies was like a show that was kind of for kids, but also like parents could follow it along and liked the movie references. You know what I mean? Because it was a lot of like Lucas and Spielberg stuff, and like a lot of like them doing versions of like Indiana Jones or Star Wars or whatever. But I tried watching the new Muppet Babies, and it's very much just geared towards really, really, really young kids. And also I didn't like it's one of those things where you can tell they've put a ton of work into animation for the characters, but like the backgrounds and the background settings are not very good. And so I don't know. I was a little upset with it. I do think it's interesting. I think Jenny Slate is the voice of Nanny in it. So now I want to fuck Nanny, which is weird. But
we all want to fuck Nanny.
Yes, we all want to fuck Nanny. Did you say you did or didn't watch Tiger King yet?
I have not watched Tiger King.
It's so much of a I don't know how it's real. There's a thing where it's like there's this really douchey guy in it, and they're talking about getting a nanny, and they're like kind of already known as swingers, but he's like talking about getting a nanny. He was like, why wouldn't I get one who's good to look at? If she's gonna be hanging out in my house, why wouldn't she be pleasant to look at? And it's just like, oh man. Well, the wind does have pills.
Is it the lady from Psycho who runs like a tiger sanctuary now?
Like from the show Psycho?
From the movie, like the old actress, like she.
Oh, Leia, or I can't think of her name. She's alive still?
Some old horror actress used her money to have like a tiger sanctuary.
Did you say horror or whore?
Horror.
Okay. I don't know if you're like some old Hollywood whore.
It turns out I am the Black Dahlia killer. I traveled back in time to...
I believe you traveled forward, and I think you the opposite. You traveled forward in time to get away from the allegations.
That's how you can get away with murder. You kill a bunch of people, and then you go 50 years in the future, and then it's like it never happened. They're not looking for you.
Yeah, because your whole excuse can be, I wasn't born yet. And it's an ironclad alibi. You know what's weird is, I hope it's not true, but there is some evidence that Orson Welles was maybe the Black Dahlia killer.
Really?
Yeah. There's some weird stuff. Like in one or two of his movies, there's like the Dahlia marks are like in the background on mannequins. And then one of the days when some weird stuff happened with the investigation, he like just happened to go to Europe for like a year, like on that day. I don't know. I mean, it's interesting.
I don't see him chasing anyone down in his later years.
This would have been when he was younger. This would have been in his 30s. So he wasn't like a big dude yet. This was in between Citizen Kane and Touch of Evil sometime. So a body shape that's in between those two body shapes. This is
I love Touch of Evil.
I need to rewatch it again. It's been a while. But
don't watch the edited. Don't watch the theatrical.
Yeah, I know.
It makes no sense.
Yes, they definitely re-edited it. Do you know the story behind that?
Yes, I know. I have the whole. I bought the DVD version that has like 3 different cuts, and it has the letter with it.
Okay, the letter.
The letter.
Have you heard the guy talk about the letter though? The editor.
Yeah, it's like a documentary and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I used to have a Merch, who's an editor. He does a lot of sound editing, but he's also an editor. But he was interviewing him, and he was just like, the guy was like, usually with the director, if half of their notes are useful, that's like great, you know. He was like, if half the notes are useful, those are really good notes. He said he's like, from a letter he wrote after only watching the rough cut once, he said every single note that Welles gave to edit was useful. Like, he almost did every single thing Orson Welles told him to do because it was almost all the right decision. But so anyway, the Cubs win. Jason Kipnis is our player of the game, who I've been sitting on the bench a lot lately. But so he must have been fresh. David Bodie, though, who I put
eyes. They all have dead eyes.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's like cross-eyed.
He is. That's what earlier the umpire looked like he was cross-eyed. The win goes to Alec Mills. The loss goes to Richard Rodriguez. He looks like he knows he lost. The save goes to Dan Winkler, who looks like he knows nothing. He looks like if Mac and me grew up and was a person. And then,
you know what? I'm going to say no name has ever fit. Like, he looks like a Winkler.
Dan Winkler?
Like 100%. It's never fit as well as with this human being.
I feel like he needs a middle name, though, to fully give the what the hell is going on with his face. Like
Fuzzy.
a
Fuzzy Winkler.
Like, he should put like a first name that's in there as his middle, like Dan Steve Winkler, where it's like, why would he go by Dan Steve Winkler? DS Winkler. Oh man. Well, Gerald, thank you for joining us on our show. Progressively less and less people are watching this. I mean, I get it that the ones that are older should have more views, but also I feel like it's not at the rate that it should be.
Maybe it'll be better. I'm okay leave in the house if you want. Once you get your camera, if you just want to do it in person.
Sure. Once I clean my apartment, maybe, or if I get once I start Twitch streaming, because I think I saw a thing where you can minimize the lag. Because I read about it where you can change settings to make it where it's as live can be. And then also, especially if I bring you through on Twitch, I would assume that whatever I'm saying and you're saying, if it's through the Twitch feed, would be somewhat better synced up. One would assume.
Wow.
Yeah. But you know what happens when you assume things, Gerald? You look like a fucking idiot. Do you like that anti-joke joke? That's one of my favorite. My friend came up with that. Joke, heavy breathing. Nope, I am not. I'm gonna. You
got windows, don't you?
No, nope. It's all barred up.
Down, Spencer.
Wow. Like down. Wow, I've been talking to you for an hour and a half. God, this was our second longest thing.
That was a long game.
Yes. Yu Darvish has been long. Although I started talking to you in the second inning, so
yeah.
Not that long. This is probably the second longest one still, though. But Gerald, thank you for talking to us. I'm gonna let you go now. We'll have you back here.
To buy me a pizza, I will eat pizza.
Yeah, Gerald, do you have a Venmo? I mean, if anyone listened to this till now, they'd maybe give us money. Because if they listen to all of this, then they must like us enough. I'm at Spencer / Louts or dash. He's got a Ven. Yes, Gerald has a Ven mouth where if you go, he'll give you his address and then you just go. You throw food through his open window.
That's through the mail slot. I
Yes.
put my mouth up to the mail slot.
Yes.
And you just put slices of pizza in there.
From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., he just puts his mouth up to the mail slot. Well, the Cubs win again, Gerald, so I can't change my shirt yet. I still haven't cleaned it. The Cubs are 6-0. They're looking like a championship team. I can't really... I mean, knock on wood. But Gerald Bronson, everybody. This is Gerald, as represented by my phone. You have a good night, Gerald, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for being with us. And by us, I mean we, because I'm all alone aside from you. Take care, bud.
All right. I'm going to go take a piss. Goodbye.
Great. Bye. And so that's it. Gerald and I talked a lot again. Sorry. But the Cubs are 6-0. What? Yeah, I already gave the recap of everything. It looked pretty good. David Bodie came up big 2 for 5 with the go-ahead home run, the winning RBI. Some could say that he would be the player of the game, you would think, instead of a 1 for 2. He did, I mean, don't get me wrong. Kipnis, I'm assuming, tied the game there. I don't know. But, yeah, so we're going to exit the post game. I'm sorry this one went so long again. Yu Darvish, keep that in mind whenever Yu Darvish has been starting, because he throws a lot of pitches. He's a big strikeout pitcher and has some control issues. But yeah, we're going into the April 3rd. Yeah, the Cubs are 6-0, and they're going to start against the Diamondbacks here for their next game. So join us, won't you? Sorry, I'm trying to say the game. You guys have a great night and a pleasant tomorrow. I've been Spencer Louts, and I still am, I think. Good night. Be well. Take care. I'm Spencer Louts. Take care. Be well. Good night.